Hey everyone, it's Ingrid, and April is National Grilled Cheese Month, so in honor of that, we are going to be making 4 mini grilled cheese sandwiches, and one of them is like a dessert grilled cheese sandwich. I have some freshly cut strawberries here, a chocolate hazelnut butter, and you can use any kind of chocolate hazelnutty spread. This one just happens to be my favorite. I have some raspberry preserves, mascarpone cheese, some arugula, butter, gluten-free bread, but you can also use whatever bread you have on hand. This is totally flexible. And then I have 3 kinds of cheeses, brie, cheddar, and a truffled Gouda. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut my cheeses, and you just want to cut these into small pieces. You don't need that much. I initially created these sandwiches because I was bored. My boyfriend and I were hanging out after the holidays and we wanted a snack, so I just went in the kitchen and I was like, let's see what I have. And I had all of these cheeses from the holidays because I had a cheese board and I was like, grilled cheese, that would be awesome. And so I just started playing around with different things in my kitchen, playing around with different flavor combinations, and I came up with these sandwiches and I brought them over to my boyfriend and he was like, whoa, what did you just do in the half hour that you were in the kitchen? Like, I had no idea you were making these sandwiches, and he loved them and I love them. And I think they're a great thing to serve as like an appetizer. They're super easy. You can also just have these as a snack. And you really can experiment and work with things that you like. So you don't have to use these same cheeses. You can use your favorite cheese. And if you want to use a different kind of preserve, you can totally do that. Just play around with it and have fun. I feel like that is a huge part of cooking, is just figuring out what you love and rolling with it. So I'm just gonna run over to the stove here and I'm going to turn on the heat, not super high, just like medium low, just so the skillet can get nice and warm. And then over here, I'm going to start buttering the bread. And I have a gluten-free bread. This is a brown rice bread just because I really like it and I think it tastes great when it's toasted. But when I originally made this, I was using a sourdough bread that I had on hand and that tasted awesome too. So I am just gonna take some butter, and I am really specific when it comes to grilled cheese. I have like a method that I feel like I've perfected. So what I do, I butter both sides of the bread, but I put a little bit more on one side than the other. And that probably sounds really weird, but it's all part of my grilled cheese strategy. So this is the side that I'm gonna kind of load up with butter. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So adding the butter is gonna make this nice and toasty and golden brown, and I feel like grilled cheese is not complete without crispy, buttery bread. And then for the other side, I just give it a quick little rub down with the butter. And it's okay if it touches the board, you don't have to worry about it. You just need a little bit. So then what you want to do is, I'm actually just gonna stack these on top of each other. So I have my bread stacked and now I'm going to cut it into quarters, and this is going to show us our little mini sandwiches. So you can kind of see the guide here. So you're gonna end up with 4 little baby sandwiches just like that. Then we can just take this over to our skillet. I have my 4 pairs of bread here, so I'm just going to take the side with the least amount of butter and put that face down into the skillet. That. Okay. And we're just gonna let those toast for a little bit until they're nice and golden brown and a little bit crispy, and then we'll flip them over and we can start assembling the sandwiches. I'm just turning down the heat a little bit so I have time to assemble the sandwiches. So I'm just gonna flip the pieces of bread over. And you can really hear when it hits that buttery side. And be careful, it is hot. I'm just used to doing this, so I reach in with my fingers. All right. Now we can put together the sandwiches. I'm gonna start off with the Gouda. So I'm just gonna take a couple slices here and place them on the bread. And then I'm gonna grab some of the greens and place this on top. And the awesome thing about this is that you don't need a lot of these ingredients, you just need a little bit. So it's really cool. All right, so next is the classic cheddar. So I just have a few pieces here and I'm going to lay them on the bread like that. Then for the brie, I'm going to start off with a layer of the raspberry preserves, and this complements the brie so nicely. If you've ever had brie in any kind of fruit, it pairs well with everything. So just a little bit like that so the brie will stick to it, even though brie is pretty gooey, so we're not gonna have a problem with sticking. And I think I'm actually gonna add a little bit more on top there, like that. And then for the last one, this is the dessert. So I am going to take some of the chocolate hazelnut spread, put a glob of that down on the bread, just putting a glob of that down. And then I have a little bit of the mascarpone cheese, and this is a great cheese to use in desserts. It's also what you use in tiramisu. So this pairs nicely with anything that's sweet and chocolatey. And I'm going to put a little bit more on top because I really like hazelnuts. Chocolate and hazelnut is probably one of my favorite flavor combinations like in the world. And then we're gonna top it all off with a strawberry. And I think we can only fit one strawberry on there, so I'm not gonna try and go too crazy with it. All right, now I'm just going to put the tops on. And again, I like using my fingers, but if you're not used to doing this, use a spatula, because it definitely took me a while. But I feel like my fingers are just so tough now because they've just been through a lot. I've burned them a lot, so they're pretty callous now. So we have our 4 little mini sandwiches. My heat is down really low right now. And then I'm just gonna place a lid over the top so the cheese can completely melt. Everything's gonna get really gooey and amazing. So I'm just gonna let this sit for just a few minutes. It doesn't need that long. All right, our mini grilled cheeses are done. So let's see what they look like. They are very gooey. So I'm just gonna get these guys out of here and get them onto the plate. Whoa. That one went flying. Well, this was our classic cheddar, who decided to be a little bit crazy. Then we have the truffled Gouda and the arugula, the brie and the raspberry preserves, and last, the chocolate hazelnut with the strawberry. And this one is super, super gooey. All right, I wanna try one of these, but I don't know which one because they all look so good. But I'm gonna go for the brie and the raspberry preserves because brie is one of my favorite cheeses. So here we go, guys. This might get a little messy. It's awesome. So good. I love the fruitiness from the raspberry preserves combined with the creaminess of the brie. It's amazing. So that is it for my mini grilled cheese sandwiches, and I hope you guys are celebrating National Grilled Cheese Month. So if you make any of these sandwiches or if you come up with your own combinations, I want to see your photos, so send them in on Twitter and Instagram. And come back here to Pop Sugar Girls Guide for more cooking videos and lots more recipes. I'm gonna keep snacking on these guys, so cheers and happy Grilled Cheese Month. Here you go. You know you want this.